Morning everyone.
Morning.
Alan Smith, partner of St James's Place Wealth Management. Been in financial advice for 23 years, 27 years in the bank. When I was in the bank, exciting stuff. Thought I was going to be there forever, and nearly was. But everything changed, and I decided to. Well, I didn't decide. They decided to make me redundant when I moved out to concentrate my efforts on financial advice going forward. So for today, I'm going to talk about several things, because financial advice is a wide subject. I was talking to Rob earlier about his subject. It's very wide. You can talk about many different things. But quite obviously this time of year, we talk about the end of tax year. And we talk about times when people are looking for trying to mitigate taxation, make more money, and put money in the right place so they can earn more from it. And that's what I want to talk about today. I've got an investor magazine which has just come out as of yesterday, which will explain a little bit more some of the things that we're doing. The campaign, It's Time for Action, is on the back. This will come out to you. It's got me in there. I didn't write the whole thing, but I could say I did, but I didn't. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, about trying to maximise your tax opportunities. First thing to look at is cash ISAs. Now most people understand that an ISA is an individual savings account and can save tax on the money you have deposited. Did you all know that you can put 15,000 into your cash ISA and earn a return on that? How many people did? Yeah? Has everyone done that? With cash ISAs, 228 billion is held in cash ISAs, of which 78% of all subscriptions last year were in cash ISAs. So there's a lot of money in that area, deposit based. The average cash ISA is currently 1.08%. So the average rate of return is 1.08%. Later on you'll see, we're going to play a little game later on, because you don't really hearing me reading through all this sort of stuff all morning. So we'll make it a little bit exciting later and I'll explain a little bit more. A third of cash ISAs fail to pay a return that beats inflation. And so a basic rate taxpayer depositing 15,000 is going to earn about £32. Wow, it's excellent, isn't it? So what do we do with our money? Is the cash ISA making the most of long-term tax benefits? Well, no. It is a good haven for deposit, a good haven for putting money for your holidays, for backing up emergency funds, saving for a wedding, okay? All things like that. It's a very good plan. Lorna is looking at Lorna as well. But it doesn't provide the returns that we're looking for the future. So there's been a 30% rise in the annual allowance in July of ISAs to help us consider putting more of our money into them. In the past, you could probably put about £3,000 in this environment. The government's gradually cranked that up to allow you to put more money in a tax haven. The other alternative to cash ISA is an investment ISA. And what does that mean? It's a portfolio of investments. And they're investing in some of the companies that maybe Paul gets involved in. Big companies out there where they provide income and returns, and that then gives an income return for you. The average investment value in stocks and shares is 29,500, but since the start of ISAs you could have sheltered £278,000 if we'd have done it every year and if we had the money. Yes, it's not so easy for everyone to raise 15,000 a year. The difference now is you can combine the investment. It doesn't have to all have to be tied up. You can have some in cash and some long term. So it's a more flexible and valuable way of saving tax. Right, we're going to have a look at that now. Got a little game. It's going to involve, I was going to get a load of money out, but I haven't got a load of money. It's invested and tied up in ISAs. So, if you want to play, I'm going to give Monopoly money worth £1,000 to Phil.
Thank you.
So you have £1,000 at the start of the year. You've put that in a cash ISA, in a deposit. I'll give Jerry the other £10,000, and you've invested in a portfolio ISA with St James's Place. So you've both got £1,000. Right, your interest rate is 1%.
Right.
All right, so we're going to round it down to 1% because it's 1.08. So you've earned basically £10. Okay, but because it's in a deposit, you're a high rate taxpayer, as I know, because you must be, 40%. I'm going to take £4 from you because I'm the tax man. So how much you got left? You've got
90.
Yeah.
Six.
Yeah. Right, inflation is another nasty thing we have to deal with. How do we cope with the real value of money? How much do we buy? How much does our money buy us? Inflation's ranged from 0.5 up to about 2%, depending on which measure you use. But let's say an average 2%. So your money, your £1,000, been sitting there for a year. It's now worth 2% less in its purchasing value. 2% is 20 quid.
Mm-hmm.
So you give me £20. How much you got left? 986 actually.
Right.
Does that sound good?
No.
It doesn't, does it? Let's look at the investment ISA. Now, with the investment ISA, the average return in a portfolio with St James's Place is 7% last year. So, it's in an ISA. So guess what? What tax am I going to take from that? Nothing. So how much have you got? £1,000. Inflation will still affect. You've actually got 1,070 because of the fact that you've earned £70 interest, yeah? Inflation will affect it, so we'll take £20 from there. So therefore, how much have you got? 50, correct. So which is the best one? 1,050 or 986? If you crank that up by 10,
Yep.
it makes it sound more exciting, or by 100. So that's the argument of that. It's about trying to use, there's nothing wrong with cash ISAs, it's about getting the right balance between the two. With the impact of inflation, the impact of taxation, what you do with your money, how available you want it, is the thing that we would look at when advising people. All right? I should have got real money out, shouldn't it? It'd be more fun. I'd have thrown it out everywhere. I think you'd understand it more.
Regarding that one over
I was
there.
supposed to have given you the £20, but there you go. So
But there's risk involved with that one there.
there is risk involved with that one there. That's correct. Absolutely right, Phil. Risk and risk assessment is something that we would do. The way you would look at it is depending on how much you have available to invest, and you wouldn't put everything into a risk, medium risk environment. You would have to have some available in emergency. And we do a test on that. So why invest in St James's Place ISAs? They're the largest stocks and share ISA provider in the market. £9.3 billion is invested in ISAs for St James's Place. Now, I don't know if everyone knew that, but St James's Place has been around since 1991. It's now a FTSE 100 company as of last year. FTSE 100 means it's 100 larger companies in the UK. And it's probably the index that most of us look at or occasionally look at when it comes up on the news. We have a diverse range of funds offering exclusive access to UK number of international investment managers, and we provide income and capital growth. You can use lump sum and regular savings in that. It's an ideal solution for consolidation of your existing portfolios. Another thing on our tax year end checklist is retirement. There's a massive amount of information coming through and also changes. What do people understand about the changes at the moment with your pensions? What can you do differently? Yeah,
You can check it with
that's right. Yeah. There's a great opportunity for a lot of people who want to keep control of their funds in a pension. If you've built up to £100,000, you can take out the whole amount if you wish in April, or you can let it buy you an income. But you're in charge of that now, and it's a massive change. And I've noticed that with youngsters these days, talking about pensions. About 5-10 years ago, people weren't doing pensions, they weren't paying money in. They're now putting property in pensions, they're now putting lump sums in and regular savings, and it does mitigate the taxation. So there's a freedom of access for a pension over 55. What do they mean to us? Basically mean greater flexibility in our retirement choice. The most important thing is to consider, well, what have you got at the moment? How do you survive inflation? Where have you got things invested? How much do you need in retirement? I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that thought. There are many more tax efficient vehicles we can look at. But are there any questions at this stage?
What's the smallest amount you can invest in there?
Into an ISA,
Is that one?
Yeah.
that 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah. Cash ISA is £1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would a youngster say of 21, 22
Yeah.
invest in a pension?
Well, why? Because it's tax efficient at source, so they would get 20% relief. It's a form of savings to build up for the future. They're very tax efficient the way it builds and adds to. The alternative, there isn't a great alternative other than investing directly into property, and of course the £20 a month, £100 a month, it would be difficult to do that. So it's quite accessible, and of course at the end the flexibility.
The problem I heard on the radio the other day,
34 years time.
encouraging young people
Yeah,
at 21
it's hard.
to put into pensions.
Mm.
I done that when I was 21.
Yeah.
I'm now 62.
Mm.
I drew down 25% of mine a few years ago,
Cash.
and I get a grand total of £735 a year.
Right.
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
But what happened to all that investment over the good times
Yeah.
that I never received? That's the problem. So why
Yeah.
not invest into property?
Well,
Okay.
that's an alternative, and you can also
That's
do
gotta be the
property.
best-
You
best
invest into
option.
property, but you need to understand with property. You need to build up larger deposits. You've got maintenance costs. You've got. I think you've got to know what you're doing a little bit. I know that some people in here do invest in property.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with investing in property, but let's not forget that there are savings vehicles that are tax efficient. You can also use. People in this room, if they're directors, business owners, you can mitigate tax by putting into pensions. You can put properties into pension to mitigate tax. You can reduce your profit, therefore your tax bill. As we understand, the profit is then taxed, isn't it? If our profit looks lower, because we have the cash flow to invest in pensions, then it will save us money as well.
But it's all about having a balance.
But it's a balanced
Yeah,
portfolio.
obviously rules have changed.
Exactly what I'm saying. You don't just do a pension
No.
for retirement. And in your argument, yes, there has been some bad situations. There has been with endowments. There has been with a lot of things. There's been some bad builders out there ruining houses as well.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying. In all industries, there's people that haven't quite got it right, and certain companies have, tarnished the reputation sometimes. I think that's the same with most industries, though. We have to rise above that and spread investments into different areas. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.